Yo, Kaz here, back with another Stick Into the Stickman video. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. In today's video, we're going to be going through startup mode, and I'm going to get you learned here with the startup mode tutorial on what everything does. Let's get into it. So if you're not aware of what startup mode is where you can create your own company or startup from scratch. So first thing you're going to do to access this is to go right up to the startup building and use on it. Haha. With this, let's start a company. I'm going to name this Startup Mode Tutorial. Seems so obvious, right? When you're done, press enter. Now for this, I'm usually a controller player with Stick Into the Stickman, but for this, I really highly recommend using strictly your keyboard for setting this all up. That's going to be by far the easiest way, but we'll take you step by step through what each one of these does. So looking at the values tab, this is going to be the values of the company. The first thing you're going to select is the minimum wage, and this is going to be the difficulty. The options we have available to us are $8, $15, and $25. So if you want it more difficult, pick $25. If you want it easy, pick $8. For promote by, you get to select if you're going to promote, if you're going to gain promotions by experience, which is earned by eliminating enemies, or by floor. If you select by floor, you can select how many promotions you get per floor. You can even set it down to 0 or even 0.25. What that means is basically every 4 floors, you will gain 1 promotion. At 0.5, you will gain 1 promotion every 2 floors, and so on. It's math, you know what I mean? I am the one, the way your son don't... Here we have employee hydration. For this is going to determine whether the water coolers are going to appear on the level. You know, everybody gathers around the water coolers. If you're not aware of what they do, you interact with them to heal a little bit of your health. I personally always select no, but it's up to you. Now this part can be a little bit deceiving, and this is honestly probably what I struggled with the most when I first started doing startups. So it says motivational welcome message, but it's not a welcome message. It's actually like an exit interview message. Whatever you type here is what's going to appear at the end of your run. So don't get it confused. It's not a welcome message. It's a little deceiving. For here, we're going to type out your motivational message appears at the end of the game. Makes sense to me. When you're done here, if you try to press enter and complete it, it just goes down a line. And that's not what we want. What I found to be best is just hit escape on your keyboard. And that completes it. Lastly, on values, the very bottom option is going to be dissolve company. You select this if you would like to permanently delete your company. In this case, I'm going to select no. After values, we have the services tab, and this is important. This is where you're going to select all of the moves that your character starts with and what's available throughout the run. All of the moves that are listed here are going to be the first move of their respective move sets. If you want to learn more about the individual moves and move sets, you can view my tier maker video that we made where we're going through and judging every one of the moves and kind of giving some insights into what all of them do. Now there are some directions on the left hand side. It says enter or left click to select move, and that's going to put it down at the bottom in order that I select them.
Fascinating.
If I want to remove a move, I just arrow down to the bottom, highlight over that move, and press enter again, and it's going to remove it from my move set. But let's put jump kick back because it's awesome. Now finally, on the left it also says press X or right click to exclude a move. I use this a lot, and what you're going to use this for is it will exclude that move from appearing throughout your run when you level up or get bonus packages and things like that. Personally, I'm going to highlight over the moves I do not want. Let's pretend for this one I want to only show kick moves. I'm going to highlight over the ones I do not want, and I'm going to press X. And now we only have forward kick, roundhouse kick, and jump kick available to us. After the services tab, we have the perks tab. This is going to be really similar. You're selecting what your character has available to start with, what's going to be available throughout the run, and what will not be available throughout the run. If you'd like to know more about these moves, we also made a video on that. Check out the link in the upper right here. Similar controls to the services panel. What I'm going to do is press enter on things that I do want. And you see it highlights it with a little yellow highlight around it. Things that I do not want to appear, I'm going to press X on. Now it's important to note that anything that's not surrounded by a yellow box or has a red X and is just looks like a plain old symbol, that's going to be things that may appear throughout the run when you level up or get bonus packages and the like. So if you want to leave certain upgrades available to pick from later on or have a chance of appearing, then leave them just like this. After perks, we have the office, and this is going to be the bread and butter of where you make your company. You're going to select all of the individual coworkers that will appear that you get to beat the snot out of in the hopes of getting that coveted promotion. You know what I mean? Now on the left, it does have some controls for you here and some keybinds. It's a little odd, but I'll go through exactly how I do this. And of course, if you have any suggestions, you can leave them in the comments down below if you have a better way of doing this. But I've done this a couple times now for a few videos, and I think it happens to work well. First thing, I'm actually highlighted over add floor right now. So let's go ahead and add a floor. When you select waves of enemies, every floor is by default going to have, I believe, 2 or 3 regular employees. That's always going to appear every floor. Keep in mind that what you're selecting here is going to be additional employees. So let's say I'm going to want to add some co-workers here to the first floor. I'm going to press enter, select new wave, and select what kind of enemies we want to appear. Now in this case, I'm going to select jocks. If you see below it, there's a couple important factors. It says X1, which means times 1. There's only going to be 1 jock appearing. And then the triplicate question marks there mean that he can come from anywhere. So first thing I'm going to want to do here is I'm going to change him to 2. I did that by pressing P on my keyboard. Just to the left of P is O. If I press O, it brings it down to 1. You can press P as many times as you think your computer can handle. When you find out you've gone too far, you can press O to bring it back down. Pressing I will change the spawn location, and you see that triplicate question mark is now changing symbols. The left arrow, or the arrow coming from the left, means that these 2 characters will jump one after another into the left window. Likewise, if I have a right arrow, they'll jump into the right window. If there's 2 arrows, it means that they will jump evenly from both sides, which is why we took 2 guys here. This doesn't work if you have only 1 enemy, like this. He will jump from either the right or the left. Finally, we have this, well, it looks like an elevator. It's an elevator. The 2 guys will come out of the elevator.
It all makes sense now.
When you're done with that, click on add floor and you can add another one. I'm going to add a couple more jocks here. So 2 from the left, 2 from the right. It is important to note that enemies will spawn in the order of left to right, depending on what you have up here. So they will not spawn all at once. Lastly, and what I think causes the biggest confusion and what I was confused about for the longest time is if you select lunch break under the employee's icon here at the top. If you select lunch break, this is actually a countdown for a timer in between waves of enemies. What I mean by that is, let's say, let me put this at 10. We have our 2 jocks in the beginning. Then let's add 2 more jocks. Now with this, 2 jocks coming from either side, or both sides, a 10-second lunch break, and then 2 more jocks. That means that after the first pair of jocks spawn, there will be a delay of 10 seconds before the next wave of jocks will spawn. A few things that you will notice when doing these is big belly guys such as fatties, they have to come out of the elevator. They cannot jump into the building. Finally, whatever is on your final floor is going to be considered the rooftop. Now, for a lot of my videos, I don't actually have an enemy on the rooftop because without it being, the actual final boss of the game where if you knock them off, you actually, helicopters back in, I feel it's a little cheap because it's just way too easy to knock everybody off at the top floor. So you can do you though, do whatever you feel right with, but personally, I like to just have a blank top floor. When you're done, just go over to the work tab and select get to work. After a brief load, you'll notice that the name of your company is what greets you on the bottom floor. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. I do appreciate it. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this, or if it's your first time around here. If you have any suggestions for a future Stick to the Stickman video, leave them in the comments, or you could always join our Discord, which is linked in the description. Without further ado, Kaz out. Have a wonderful day. Peace!